share the screen with you. All right, so here's the agenda for this morning's session, okay? We're gonna talk about the key 9 steps of building a thriving open business for yourself. These steps are gonna include how to pick the right open house, the differences between the neighborhood exclusive open house and a traditional open house. We're also gonna cover the preparation piece of the open house. I think there are a lot of times we, especially I think right now, it's hard to plan open houses. I get it. You're hoping that it's going to be still available by the end of the week, and the reality is, especially at a certain price point, they go under contract pretty quickly. But we still got to be preparing for our open houses. We're going to go over that in detail. The ads that you're going to be running, more specifically for the neighborhood exclusive open houses, that can be, by the way, a huge game changer for you. Especially if you're going to be picking up listings in the coming months and hopefully years. I mean, by doing neighborhood exclusive open houses, you're going to be able to generate more listings from it. Okay. We're also going to touch on the marketing collateral that we utilize at our open houses. Scripts and objection handlers, that's really going to be important for you, especially if you want to be converting the leads at the higher level. Number 7, the signups. I'm going to show you the trick. It's not a trick, it's a method that we use to help us get about up to 90% of the signups at your open house. Conversion piece of it, and then follow through sequence. Okay, so let's start, guys. I'm not gonna go through who am I and why am I doing this and all of that stuff. I'm sure you heard that before. So let's start with, why should we do more open houses? Who can answer that question? It's a very simple question. Okay, but why do we do more open houses, guys?
To get buyers?
Right, it's a great way to meet a lot of people.
It's a great way to meet a lot of people. Okay, I agree with that. Anyone else? Okay, so with open houses, I think first and foremost, like Adrian said, and also what Carmen said, is it gives us an opportunity to get in front of a potential buyer or a seller, correct? Name me any other lead source or avenue out there, aside from your sphere, obviously, when you take them out or you meet them, right? Where you actually get in front of potential buyer and a seller. I don't think there's any. Open houses, if you think about it, is probably one of the best ways to get in touch or get in front of potential buyer and a seller. Okay, so that's one. Number 2 is, it's a great way of finding now business, and not only a now business. In other words, buyers are looking to buy now, but also build a future business by meeting with the homeowners that live in that neighborhood, that are thinking and planning of putting their house on the market, in the near future. Another benefit of holding open houses, and why I love open houses, is I'm getting more seller leads. Especially if you're going to be doing neighborhood exclusive open houses, which for me, by the way, I started doing them about 3 years ago in my farm in Arrowhead Lakes. Okay, for me, that was a game changer. Okay. And then, of course, if you're going to be farming, and I think, Carmen, you're planning to farm, correct? It really helps you. It really enhances and really develops your geo-farming presence, okay, your branding, and your overall social media. Like, by having open houses, I get phone calls, for example, from the people that reach out to me, from the homeowners in my farm, and they're constantly telling me, you know what, you guys are always doing open houses. I always see your signs. And that's true. We put out a lot of signs. We do a lot of open houses, especially if it's a vacant home. We'll do 3, 4, 5 open houses a week, nonstop. And the homeowners see that. They see that. So open houses are very important. And by enhancing with geofarming and social media activities, that's going to be the key as well. Also, personal and business brand exposure. We talked about that with open houses, because you're actually meeting potential buyers. You're meeting potential sellers. You're introducing your services, your marketing techniques to the homeowners that live in a neighborhood. You're educating them. You know, so that helps you with your brand, that helps you with your business, overall business, and will help you with the listings. And then the biggest thing, my favorite thing, honestly, is with open houses, and please correct me if I'm wrong, aside from a sweat equity, and maybe, yes, you invested in the open house signs and some marketing collateral that title company can probably help you out with, or your lender can help you out with, there's really not that much of an expense. If you're an agent on a team, there should be no expense at all, because for our team, we provide open house signs. For our team, we provide marketing collateral. For our team, we provide business cards. For our team, we provide listings. So there should be any type of expenses at all. And show me any other business, okay, in real estate, a lead source in real estate, aside from your sphere, okay, where you can actually, my gosh, spend less than 20 bucks per open house, 25 bucks per open house. I mean, you're going to spend some money on the bottles of water. You're going to spend some money maybe on some cookies, maybe something to give out, candies, but that's pretty much it. But in exchange, it gives you an opportunity to get in front of potential buyers and sellers every single time. Okay? So let me share a quick story about one of my first open houses that I've done. And the reason I did that open house is not because I was told this by my broker to do it or one of the agents in my brokerage. Actually, the reason I did that open house was because I was representing a seller and we were under contract on their house on 83rd Avenue in Camelback. It was a $100,000 house, and the buyer's agent pulled up in a really, really nice car. Really nice car. I think it was a Mercedes-Benz S550 or E550 or 350, one of those, okay? So me being a brand new agent, this is my first year in business, probably the first 3-4 months in a business. Okay, I, being very inquisitive, asking questions, asked them, hey, you know, how's business? And he said, the business is great. He's like, I'm going to sell a lot of homes this year. I was like, well, if I may ask, how many homes are you planning to sell? He's like, well, last year I sold 45. This year probably going to be at around 45, 50. I was like, oh my gosh, 45, 50, that's a lot of homes. What do you do to get your business? And he said, Alan, believe it or not, most of my business, aside from SOI, most of my business is coming from open houses. And this is an elderly gentleman. He's probably in his late 50s, early 60s. So he's not a spring chicken. And I was like, well, can you elaborate on that? Can you tell me a little bit more about it? He's like, yeah, absolutely. I treat my open houses like I treat going to the office. I do them 4 or 5 times a week. Whether I get crowd or not, I'm conducting open houses for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Unless, of course, I have showings or I have listing appointments, I do open houses. My follow-up question is like, what do you do differently? So he said, I'm not doing anything differently. The one thing that I do maybe a little bit differently is the fact that when I get these leads, I follow up with them right away. I try to get them out there right away and start showing them home. And there are a couple of other tips and tricks that he shared with me that I will share with you in these slides. But this guy was doing open houses 4 or 5 times a week, every single week. And he was closing between 45 to 50 transactions a year. So for me, it was, okay, you know what? I got to do it. I got to start doing it. The problem was I didn't have any listings. I contacted a couple of the agents in my brokerage. None of them really had any listings available for open houses. So what I did, I contacted an agent from outside of my brokerage. He had a listing across the street from my house. At that time, I was living up in Anthem Country Club. Who's familiar with Anthem Country Club, by the way? Carmen. I'm sure Carmen's got a couple of properties there. Yeah. But Country Club, Anthem Country Club is like basically like almost like a Fort Knox. You know, you have like you have like 2 security buildings there, and you cannot go through. Like you got to know people. Okay. So I was like, but it did not deter me for actually holding an open house. For me, it was like, I got to hold an open house. I got to hold an open house. So I reached out to this guy, this agent, very nice man. And I was like, look, I'm an agent. I live in a neighborhood. I know the neighborhood. I see you have a house. It's been on the market for about 60 days. It's vacant. Is it okay for me to hold an open house? And surprisingly, he was okay with it. He's like, yeah, sure. Knock yourself out. No big deal. I was like, great. Another favor. He's like, what? I don't have open house signs yet. I just ordered them. Is it okay for me to borrow your open house signs and hold an open house? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Just make sure you return them. I said, okay, not a problem. So I took 5 signs from him and I held my first open house. And out of that open house that I held, that was not even my listing, was not even my brokerage's listing, I was able to generate $107,000 in gross commission income. $107,000 in gross commission income. In the last, I would say about 5.5, 6 years. So how was I able to do that? Well, let me continue. So at that open house, again, mind you, it's a vacant home. I meet a client, Doug and Sarah Dowd. Okay, they're not a client of mine. Again, they're just people that visited the open house. Sarah didn't like the house at all. Doug, he was kind of like, it needs a lot of work, this and that. Do you have anything else that you can show us? Great question. So what I did is, and what that buyer's agent, remember, that gave me advice on open houses, he told me what to do. He said, make sure you print out a list of all the vacant homes in that neighborhood. Because you will have people that will be interested in purchasing that neighborhood. They may have a question, okay, about that neighborhood, or they want to go and see some of these houses. So what I did is I print out the list of all the vacant homes in that neighborhood, okay, and I offer them to actually show them a couple of these houses, which they were open to do. So I locked the door because it was a vacant home. I put a note, said I'll be back in about half an hour, 40 minutes, and I showed them 2 additional homes. Now, did they like those homes? No, they did not. But here's what I was able to accomplish, and this is very important. I was able to develop a rapport with them. I was able to ask them some additional questions that I was just not able to do when they were looking at the house. The house was not really meeting their requirements. They didn't really want to spend that much time in that house. So I didn't really have an opportunity to ask a lot of those questions. What I was able to do is show them another 2 houses in the neighborhood, and that gave me enough time to not only ask them these questions, not only to develop a rapport, but also bring value to the table. I went out of my way to show them these 2 houses. That made me feel special. And during that conversation that I had with them, I was able to discover that they're downsizing. They currently live in a 2-story house in Arrowhead Ranch. And they're looking to buy a single-story house, ideally with the golf course view. Great. So my next step was to schedule a meeting with them to actually see their house, offer them a CMA, a complete price analysis of their home, and to get a listing, which I was able to do. So I got a listing from them, and again, this is my like third month in business for $375. When I sold that listing, and I sold that listing in one day for $375,000. They ended up buying a house with me for $565. So these are two transactions right there. Then the purchaser or the buyer of this home right here, his name is Brian Harrison. Okay. On the day of the closing, I get a call from his agent who lives in the East Valley. And his agent asking me if I can do a favor. I said, sure, not a problem. What's up? He's like, well, I live in the East Valley. I work. Can you give the keys to the house to my clients, Brian and Miriam? So, sure, not a problem. I'll take care of it. So I meet Brian and Miriam after the closing. I hand them the keys. And the first question to me is like, can you come and see our house? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, we see you do a lot of business in this area. I haven't done any business in that area. Can you come and see our house? Our house is about 2 blocks away from this house. I said, what about your agent? They're like, well, you know what? He's a good friend of ours, but he lives in the East Valley. I don't think he knows the area. And plus, he's a full-time employee, so he doesn't really have the time or the opportunity to come this way. I said, sure, not a problem. Listed their house for $315, sold it for $310. 3 years later, they call me again, and they asked me to sell this house for $375, and I sold that house for $415. When I sold this house for $415, they bought a new build for $424 with me. And then Brian's brother-in-law, listed and bought a house with me for $680. The same goes with Doug and Sarah. They sold their rental with me for $340. They sent me a referral for $275. Doug and Sarah's son purchased for $320. Brian's brother-in-law purchased for $200,000. So as you can see, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 transactions from one open house that was not even my listing, were not even my signs. It was just action that I took. Simple. And I have a couple of other very similar stories to this one that generated numerous listing opportunities and numerous buyer opportunities just holding an open house. Okay? So open houses work. I'm a huge proponent. I'm a huge advocate for holding open houses. If you, the agent, one of those agents that currently not showing homes, if you're one of those agents that do not have listings, what do you do in afternoon times? Yes, you can make phone calls, but you're not going to be able to make phone calls for 6 or 7 hours a day. My schedule used to be in the mornings, I'm making phone calls, I'm doing my follow-ups, I'm scheduling my appointments, and if I don't have anything going on in afternoon times, I'm holding open houses. I would hold open houses 3, 4, 5 times a week for about 2.5, 3 years straight. And I would get a lot of business out of it. Okay? So how do we pick the right open house? Now, right now, things are a little bit different. I get it. You know, we really don't have that much of options out there when it comes to the open houses. So we pick the one that is available. I get it. But let's say, for instance, things eventually will get more normalized, I guess, word, or more balanced, where you're going to have more inventory out there. And it will happen. It will happen. Whether it's going to happen 6 months from now, a year from now, it will happen. This is not going to continue forever. So we got to prepare ourselves. But I prefer to do vacant homes if it's a traditional open house. If it's a traditional open house, I want a vacant home. Why? It gives me the flexibility to lock the door and show another house or two in the neighborhood. If I'm holding a neighborhood exclusive open house, I prefer to have an owner occupied home. Why? Because it shows better, it has a furniture, it's much more homey looking type of a house versus being a vacant without any type of a furniture. Price is also very important to me. This is something that I learned in the early stages when holding open houses. I'm putting the same amount of time, the same amount of effort, the same number of signs, the same type of marketing, the same type of everything in a $200,000 price point house that I would in a $450,000, $500,000 house. The difference is the type of a buyer that I'm attracting at a $450,000 house is going to be different than a $200,000 house. Typically, the buyers at the higher price points, you know, they're going to be conventional. They're going to be putting down more money. They're probably going to have less problems with getting approved by a lender. There are more options out there in a $450,000, $500,000 range, more inventory. And then for the same amount of work that you're going to conduct, your commission is almost double. There's a big difference between getting paid $6,000 per transaction and $12,000 per transaction, doing exactly the same amount of work. The same exact, I mean, you're probably going to do less work with a $450,000, $500,000 buyer than you would with a $200,000, $250,000 buyer. That's a fact right now, correct? Would anybody dispute that? Anybody dispute that? No. So for me, price points from day one essentially were very important. Another thing that is very important to me is immediate access to the property. No more than 4 or 5 turns. Ideally, you don't want to have a gated community. Again, it's not a deal breaker with gated communities. You have to make sure that the HOA will give you a temporary gate code for you holding an open house. There are HOAs that will do that. If it's gated where you have security guards, you know, give them some gifts, maybe coffee or donuts, something along those lines. Give them a bunch of pamphlets, all right, information about your open house, and ask them to direct the potential open house visitors to your open house. But ideally, no gates. Another thing that I learned from that gentleman is the fact that we want to make sure that we put out as many signs as possible. When I was holding open house, every time I would put out anywhere between 25 to 30 open house signs. I teach the agents on my team to put out at least 20 to 30 signs. The more signs, the better it is. And especially for those agents that are looking to build their farm, to start farming. Signs equal name recognition. Signs equal you being more engaged and involved in open house. Sign equal in getting more traffic. More signs, the better it is. Invest in signs. Another thing that is important is having a nice curb appeal. From my experience, when I'm holding an open house, even though the open house is nice inside, the property looks inside, if it's a rundown curb appeal, a lot of times buyers will pull up, they look, and they will leave. They will drive out. So that's something you have to take into consideration as well. Okay, look for the updates inside. Ideally, you want to start searching for the right open house on Sunday or Monday. Here's another thing that I want to share with you. That's a tip, okay? Develop relationships with agents who list homes, but they do not hold open houses. There are agents out there, being one of them, is the fact that I list homes, but right now I just do not have the time to hold open houses. Virginia is another agent who gets listings, but she doesn't hold open houses most of the time. So look for those agents, develop relationships with those agents, okay? And get open houses from them. Any questions about this slide, guys? Okay, let's continue. Preparation meets opportunity. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, if you will, when I'm talking to the agents, is agents are not prepared to hold open houses. And I'm not just talking about, putting out signs. I'm not just talking about, having some marketing collateral, whatever it is. No, I'm talking about actually doing your homework. Doing your homework and knowing as much as you have to know about the neighborhood, about the house, about the amenities in the house and the neighborhood, right? The proximities, the schools, the HOA. All of that is very important when you're holding an open house. Also, in addition to that, you want to know what's currently going on in terms of how many houses are on the market active, how many of them are under contract, how many of them are closed, what is the average sold price, what is the average price per square foot, what is the average days on the market in that neighborhood. You can generate all of that information, by the way, literally within minutes from MLS. Why do we want to know all of this information? Please help me out. Anyone?
So when you get prospecting buyers,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
to be
it's good
able to
information to
answer
share.
questions when they come by.
Yep.
So that you will be recognized as the expert.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you're going to have a combination of buyers and you're also going to have a combination of homeowners, right? And homeowners, the reason they stop at the open houses, from my experience, yeah, there are going to be some that are looky-loose, don't get me wrong, but you're also going to have some that are actually thinking of selling their house in the near future. And what they're doing is they're going, okay, and they're researching, they're gauging, they're actually inadvertently interviewing agents possibly to sell their house. So if you know your stuff, first of all, you're going to feel much more confident. And secondly, you're going to be able to convey that information in a way where that homeowner is going to feel like, yeah, you know what? This person knows her shit. She knows the average days in the market. She knows the average sold price. She knows how many homes sold in the last 3 months or 6 months in the last year. She knows that information. She knows how much is the monthly HOA. She knows what was done in the house and how much was spent. Remember, guys, there are 40,000 agents out there. We got to be able to differentiate or separate ourselves from the herd. And how do we do that? By bringing value, by adding value. So by having that information at our fingertips, at our disposal, we're really going to be able to set you apart from other agents that are just there holding an open house and not really privy or don't know that much of information. Okay? Another thing that you may want to do is, if it's not your listing, is reach out to the listing agent and find out about the house. Find out what was done inside of the house. Find out what are the selling features of the house. Find out how that listing agent came up with the price. The more information you have for your open house, the better you're gonna look, the better you're gonna sound. You're gonna sound more confident. You're gonna sound like you're an expert, that you know the neighborhood. And you're gonna know the neighborhood. By you knowing all this information, you're gonna know the neighborhood now. But this is especially important for those agents that are planning to plant seeds, planning to farm a specific neighborhood. You got to become an expert in that neighborhood, an expert. And this is how you do it. You prepare. You do your homework. You do your research. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's continue. Neighborhood exclusive open house versus traditional open house. Okay, with neighborhood exclusive open house, what we're doing is we are marketing specifically to the neighborhood. So let's say, for instance, you got a listing. Before that listing goes on the market, what we want to do is we promote and market it to our database. We promote to the neighbors, inviting them to a neighborhood exclusive open house. We do that through phone calls. We do it through social media. We do that from sending flyers or postcards, inviting neighbors to come to this neighborhood exclusive open house. A day before you put it on the market, or even on the day that you put it on the market, you hold that open house. Ideally, it works great with the new listings or coming soon listings. From our experience doing this, we usually get anywhere between 20 to 30 walk-ins. And out of those 20 to 30 walk-ins, we get anywhere between 5 to 10 seller leads. These are all neighbors that heard about us, that received invitations in the mail, that met our agents when our agents were door knocking, inviting them. And they're all showed up on Thursday at 4 p.m., from 4 to 7 p.m. The key component is going to be offering food and beverage services. Food and beverage services. That's what's going to really help you and get them to kind of stick around, linger for an hour or two, have a couple of maybe bottles of beer, have a couple of glasses of wine, maybe some cold cuts, some cheese, and share their plans with you. Okay, most likely you may need help. When I do these open houses, I have another 2 or 3 agents with me. I have a lender with me as well. And they last anywhere between 3 to 4 hours long. Okay, so here's the picture of the setup for a neighborhood exclusive open house. So we usually buy about 4 to 5 bottles of wine, small bottles of water, a charcuterie or a cold cut platter. We get it from AJ's. We order it. It costs us about, I think it's like $100. Lender pays or can pay half of it. Some crackers, some utensils, really nice setup, and that's it. So altogether, it probably costs us about $200. We put out signs, and the signs we put out are all inside of the community. We do not do anything outside of the community. So this is inside of the community. And then what we also do is we roll out a red carpet. So it's very festive It's very elegant. It's really more the next step, or like we get so many positive feedback from people that actually come to this open house and they see this beautiful red carpet rollout. They see this setup. We get a lot of feedback, a lot of positive comments. Okay. We did one of these open houses in Arrowhead Ranch, and because of that open house, we listed 3 additional homes on the same street. No joke. Let me see if this link works.
So this is what we call the neighborhood domination.
So 1, 2, 3, and then there's another one across the street that we listed. So we listed 4 houses on the same street. And 3 of those open houses came from 3 of those listings came from our open house, neighborhood exclusive open house that we did. Here's a 4th one. Think about it, guys. How much business you can generate by just holding one neighborhood exclusive open house. And by the way, these leads right here, most of them are going to be long term. But that's okay. They will give you their information. They will give you their name, their phone number, their email address. They will share their plans with you. What do you do with that information? You put it in your database, and now you start dripping on them with emails, educational videos, valuable content, and they're in your ecosystem now. So for those agents that want to generate more listings, and you have a listing coming up, hands down, you got to do neighborhood exclusive open house. For every listing that you have coming up, for every listing, you got to do neighborhood exclusive open house. You will get more listings out of it. Okay, so how do we get traffic? All starts about 1 to 2 weeks prior to the neighborhood exclusive open house. First step is we take professional pictures. We order marketing collateral. We record a video. We invite our database to attend the open house. Most of them will not, but here's what you're doing. Okay, you're letting your database know that you, A, holding a neighborhood exclusive open house, and B, you're inviting them. You're inviting them. It's a nice gesture to invite them for wine and cheese. We post the invite and house pics on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We email our database. We'll mail or drop off open house invitations on Monday, the week of the open house. We circle prospect the neighborhood via phone and door knocking. We door knock and personally invite closest neighbors on the day of the open house. And we put out about 20 to 40 open house signs inside of the neighborhood. So we do all of those things in concert to get as much as traffic as possible in a door. Now, you don't have to do all of this stuff. The biggest thing I believe is sending them or mailing or dropping off open house invitations, door knocking, personally inviting the neighbors. Look, if you door knock 50 houses on that street, there's a good chance about 10 of them will show up on the day of the open house. So you open house from 4 to 7, you come in at 2 o'clock, from 2 to 3, you're door knocking, you're leaving the flyers, there's a good chance 10 of them will show up. Okay? 10 of them will show up. But this can be a good, as a game changer for you. Especially if you have a listing coming up or two coming up, this is something that you definitely want to implement. Marketing collateral. Marketing collateral for open house invitations, seller guide and checklist, buyer guide and checklist. A lot of this stuff is provided by the title companies out there. Feedback sheets, very important. Quality property flyers with pics and selling features. Obviously, your business cards, client testimonials, any type of swag you're gonna have for the neighbors to give out. That's important. Welcome pull-up banner. We got one from Vistaprint that you can order. And then I think it just adds almost kind of like a cherry on the icing or on top of the cake. Red carpet rollout, balloons, flags. All of that's got to be part of your concert routine. So this is kind of like a welcome open house. Please come in. That's a pull-up banner. And this is the setup that we run in addition to the wine and cheese. All right, guys, any questions? No questions.
I guess my only comment would be, I mean, if these are our own listings, then I could see where the time frame, obviously we will arrange for the time frame to work for our listings. But if we're trying to dominate, like now that I'm going to start farming an area, then I'll be looking possibly to hold open houses for listings that are in the neighborhood. How would I be able to do like the marketing that I would need to do just because houses are like they're flying off the market anyways? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what you want to do is you still want to do that open house, right? So
Yes.
you know it's going to fly out, you know, but you definitely want to hold one big open house for the neighbors only, because your goal is to generate more seller leads of that neighborhood from holding that open house. And plus, it promotes your brand.
Yeah, and I guess my goal behind, so I'm not big on open houses, but I'm listening to you talk, it makes sense that I want to build the presence in the neighborhood that I want to farm, because they're already going to be getting normal mailings and things from me. So if they start seeing me at these open houses, then it puts the face with the mailer for me anyways. I'm just wondering how I would be able to do the like the mailer that goes to the neighborhood quick enough to get the open house done in a quick enough manner that it's not sold before all that's in place. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. Absolutely. You can do a mailer quick enough. You can have a mailer there on Wednesday, okay, or Tuesday, and hold an open house on Thursday. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, it would make sense if I knew that the listing was going to be active. But I mean, if the listing is active, chances are by day 4, it's already under contract. So I don't have the time. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but here's what you can do, okay? And this is something that you have to be able to adjust in a current situation.
Yes.
You can say all of the showings are going to be done on Saturday and Sunday. You hold an open house on Thursday. And then you present all the offers on Monday.
Well, I mean, if it's my listing, but if it's not, I guess that's what I'm running into.
This is only going to really work if it's your listing.
If it's my listing, that's what I was wondering. That there's really not a way to adapt if I'm just trying to.
No, it's going to be very hard. You
Okay.
can traditional open house, right? So there's a difference between neighborhood exclusive open house and traditional. Neighborhood exclusive open houses is for those listings that are yours, that are coming soon, right? A lot of times we as agents, we pick up listings, and especially in the current market, we do not leverage them. What we do is we put it on the market, and literally within a day or two, it's under contract, and we haven't able to leverage that listing. What I'm saying is take your time, explain what you're going to be doing to the homeowners, and leverage it before you actually put it on the market. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So that's the way I look at it is if you're working with a seller and you have a listing coming up, and I believe, Carmen, you have a listing coming up, okay? This is something you want to do for that neighborhood, and you will get neighborhood traffic. You will get other homeowners that will stop by at your open house. And out of those individual homeowners, you will find several leads that are thinking of possibly selling their house.
Yes, makes sense.
So that's the way I look at it. Instead of just putting it in a market and you know it's going to sell, the problem is, A, you're not going to be able to generate any additional business out of it. You're not. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Carmen. I appreciate your question. Anyone else before we continue? No? Okay, let's continue, guys. So the power of scripts. Okay, look, I mean, the scripts, and I'm not talking about, being scripted, right? I'm talking about knowing what to ask, knowing how to ask, knowing the type of questions to ask, and then also, more importantly, knowing how to be able to handle certain objections that are going to be coming your way is going to be very important. Okay? How many of you, when you're holding open houses, okay, get this right here as an objection? Most. What about this one? What about this one?
All the time.
Right? So the biggest one probably would be, hey, I'm just looking. Or this one. These are the two. These are the two, the most common ones. Okay? And here's what, unfortunately, we succumb to do, right? When somebody says we're just looking, our natural instinct is like, okay, all right, I'm going to give you your space and go ahead and look. Right? Or when they say I have an agent, what do we typically do? When somebody tells you they have an agent, what is your response? Please be honest with me.
You just back off.
Just back off, right? Why do we back off?
Because we're scared
Because we're scared.
to step on somebody's toes. So we just let them be and just back off and here, look around. Let me know if you have any questions.
Right, right. What about when they say, I'm just looking? What are you doing? What are you saying?
You're supposed to probe and ask, what are you looking for? How long have you been looking?
Yeah. Yeah. So here's how I approach every single open house, okay? Let's say, for instance, it's a traditional open house, and most of you are going to be doing traditional open houses, okay? I know, Adrian, you're holding open houses on a weekly basis, right? You're doing them. Okay, so when someone walks in, I'm greeting them. I got the smile on, I dress to impress, I got energy. For me, that's game time. I remove my phone, I put it in the pocket, it's on silent, right? I'm ready to do this, okay? Somebody walks into my open house, I introduce myself, and then I ask for their names. And I write down their names on my feedback form. Right away. The reason I do that is because I'm not that great remembering the names. And I want to make sure I have it. So I write them down. And then my question to them is, do you guys live in a neighborhood or you're shopping for your next home? Do you guys live in a neighborhood or you're shopping for your next home? Why do I ask that question? Why is it important to ask that question?
Because you'll find out if you're dealing with a buyer or possible seller.
Correct. I want to know if I'm dealing with somebody who lives in a neighborhood, most likely knows neighborhood, most likely will have questions about the comps and the prices, right? And there's a chance that he may be or she may be doing what? Selling, correct? So I'm potentially dealing with the seller. I'm dealing with the seller. So my pitch now, my line of questioning has to be a little bit different than if this would be a buyer. For instance, if it's a buyer, my follow-up question is when they say, yeah, you know what, I'm just looking, or, I'm buying a house. Great. If you don't mind me asking you, what do you like about this neighborhood that attracted you to this neighborhood? Well, I like this neighborhood because my kids, I want them to go to a specific school. Okay, and how long you guys been looking? Well, we're looking for 2 months. Oh, wonderful, you've been looking for 2 months. Have you found anything that you like? Well, not really. We're just looking for a specific house in this neighborhood. So now you know they're looking to buy in this neighborhood. The reason they want to do it is because their kids are going to be at school. Okay? So now you want to know, do you guys currently live in the city or where do you live? Well, we live in Phoenix. Do you have a house to sell? Yes, we do. So now not only they're buyers, but they're also sellers. Now imagine if, let's say, they live in a neighborhood, right? So now we live in a neighborhood, great. And let's role play. Who wants to role play with me? Who wants to role play with me? You guys, you're gonna be a homeowner, not a homeowner, but lives in a neighborhood. Anyone?
I'll do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, that's Veronique, right?
Yes, sorry.
Hey, Bernice, thanks for coming in. Just out of curiosity, do you guys live in a neighborhood or are you shopping for your next home?
We live in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. How long have you guys been living in this neighborhood?
5 years.
Oh, okay. And what do you like about this neighborhood?
It's very calm, and I like the schools.
So you like the schools in this neighborhood?
Yes,
Got it. Awesome. And you're living on this street or are you living a block down, 2 blocks down? Where do you guys live?
just around the corner.
Just around the corner?
Yes.
Awesome. So what attracted you to come to this house?
I just saw all the signs and stuff outside, and just thought we'd stop by.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, let me show you around, Bernice. Are you familiar with this floor plan?
It's a little similar to ours,
Uh-huh.
just a little bit different.
A little bit different, right? And yours, does it have a backyard like this with the pool or no pool?
We don't have a pool.
You don't have a pool?
No.
Do you prefer to have a pool?
It would be nice.
Would be nice, right? You said you have how many kids? Two kids. Okay. What are their ages?
2 and 4.
2 and 4. Wonderful. So they probably wanna have a pool, right? Start swimming in that pool and utilizing those summer months when they're home from school. Yeah.
Yes, we think maybe when they get a little bit older. I think right now it's still dangerous.
Yeah. No, I get it. I have 3 kids myself, and we finally taught them how to swim. But before that, we had a gate all around the pool.
Yes, it's when my little one, she's wild. She's not scared of anything. So that's why we didn't buy a house with a pool.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Wonderful. So Bernice, do you happen to know anyone who's thinking of possibly moving into this neighborhood? Maybe one of your friends, acquaintances, maybe family members?
Not right now. I know I have people I know that just come over and like our house and like our neighborhood, but I don't know of anyone specifically looking to move right now.
Gotcha, gotcha. How about you? Have you ever maybe considered, maybe hypothetically, maybe moving into a different house and maybe possibly a different neighborhood?
We would like to buy a house with a pool
Uh-huh.
in the next couple years. And we do love our neighborhood, so we want to stay here.
Got you. So you want to stay ideally in the neighborhood by buy a house, a different house with a pool,
Yes, and maybe an extra bedroom.
an extra bedroom. And if I may ask, if you don't mind sharing it with me, Berenice, what has to happen between now and you said what, couple of years, about 2 years from now, right? In order for you to be kind of ready to sell your house and buy your next home?
We just always felt like we want the girls to be a little bit older, especially because of the pool.
Got it. So we just want to make sure that the kids are a little bit older, right?
Yes.
Got it. Have you maybe considered maybe erecting or putting a fence around the pool? Is that something that is an option for you and your husband?
Well, yes, we would. I would think we would have to. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then of course an additional bedroom. How many bedrooms do you have right now?
3.
And you want to have 4, right?
Yes.
Got it. And you're going to be using that additional room for as an office or as a fitness room? What's your plan?
An office for myself.
An office for yourself. Okay, awesome, great. Well, Berenice, listen, I appreciate all this information. That helps me quite a bit. Is it okay if I can maybe possibly start sending you some information about what is coming on the market in the near future, any properties that just hit the market, and just to kind of give you an update of what's happening in the neighborhood? Is that something you would be open to?
Yes.
Awesome. What's a good email address for you?
Bernice@yourmunozteam.com.
Okay, wonderful. And a good phone number for you as well?
602-615-6071.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. So I got that as well. All right, great, Bernice. Here's my business card. And before before I let you go, just out of curiosity, if we were able to get a really good deal for your house, like find a buyer that will work around your schedule, offer you a top deal, the best terms for your house, and then at the same time we can find you a really nice house with a 4th bedroom as well as the pool with the gate. Is that something you would be open to and maybe discussing it right now?
Maybe if I get the emails, I can share with my husband and see what he thinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a great plan. I'll send you a list of properties this evening, okay? And if it's okay for me to follow up with you as well this evening.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay. So that's and Bernice was very nice, and she didn't give me a hard time. Situations are going to be a little bit differently, but that was the gist of the role play, if you will, when you're talking to somebody who lives in a neighborhood, right? So I was able to find out that she lives in a neighborhood, right? Wanted to find out if she has a pool or not. Okay. Also was able to find out that she has a couple of kids. She likes this neighborhood. She wants to stay in this neighborhood because of the schools, but she also wants to have a pool. And also she wants to have an additional bedroom that she can use as an office. She's been there for 5 years. Most likely she's got quite a bit of equity in the last 5 years, right? And she's open and getting something else. Now, whether she's going to be listing with me in the next 2 months or 3 months, that's to be determined. We don't know. But guess what? I got her phone number. I got her email address. I asked for permission to follow up with her. I asked for my permission to send her properties, right? So now she's going to be in my database. So whether it's going to be 2 months from now or 2 years from now, doesn't really matter to me because I know I'm going to be in a business for the next 20 years. And she's in your database. So your job is to continually bring value to Berenice, my job, and make sure that she constantly gets something from me, understands where I'm coming from in terms of, and hears from me. So this way, when the time is right, she's going to be contacting me versus another agent. Okay? So that's the way you want to do it when you're talking to the seller. Okay, now let's say, for example, you got somebody who's giving you an objection, I'm just looking, right? So the way and let's do a role play. Who wants to do another role play? With
I'll do
that,
it.
that I'm just looking.
I'll do it.
Okay, let's do it, Adrian. Hey, Adrian, what gets you into this house?
Oh, I was just driving by.
Just driving by. Awesome.
Yeah,
So
saw the sign.
got you. Do you live in a neighborhood or you're shopping for your next home?
Well, I'm just kind of looking around. So I don't really have anything specific in mind.
Yeah, man, that's cool. You know, I work with a lot of buyers that started looking initially and then ended up buying with me. I know it's a significant process. So if I may ask, are you specifically looking in this neighborhood or are you open to other neighborhoods around town?
I don't know. I just started out, so I'm not real sure exactly where I'm headed.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So you said you're going to driving in this area. Do you work in this area?
No, I've just always liked this area. I don't live over here though.
What do you like about this area?
I like being by the mountains.
Oh, so you want to have really nice views then.
Right.
If I may ask, and I'm sure you don't mind sharing with me, Adrian, where do you currently live?
I live in Tempe.
Okay, all right. So you want to be kind of on the west side of town then, huh?
Yeah, I'm looking for a change, but I don't really know much more than that at this point.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, we don't want to be stagnant, and we're always looking for a change. Now, in Tempe, Adrian, you own a property, or you're currently renting?
I own a property and I'm not close to even being able to do this. I'm just getting a head start here.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You just kind of thinking this right initially, you know, what to do next.
Yeah,
Yeah. And how long you own that property down in Tempe?
10 years.
Oh, you probably got it at the perfect time, right? 2010.
So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I'm sure you probably have a lot of equity, huh?
Yeah, there's a fair amount.
Oh, that's good, man. So what would your ideal home look like, Adrian, if you don't mind sharing with me? So this way, at least I can gauge it, and maybe in the future, when you are ready to buy, maybe I can help you out in finding that ideal, perfect home for you.
Yeah. Well, that's like I need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath,
Yep.
but I don't know when, and I can't answer a lot of specific questions at this point
Cool.
because I'm just looking.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. If I may ask, and I appreciate your sharing this with me, Adrian. This is just, you know, so this way, obviously, we kind of on the same page. What has to happen in order for you to feel like you're a little bit more ready to start going out there and looking for your next home? And maybe possibly even selling your property in Tempe. Is that still the plan? I'm assuming you want to sell that property or you want to rent it out?
Yeah, I would be selling that property.
Cool.
I
Has to happen.
I don't know. I need more time to figure out exactly where I want to be and how difficult it's going to be to make that happen. I don't know at this point. So I know I need a 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I mean, I get it. You're I'm sure kind of like in the early stages of this whole thing, right? You got
Right.
to figure out where you want to be. You also probably want to figure out what you're going to be able to get for your house, correct?
Oh yeah, there's all that stuff I got to go figure out. So
If I may ask, Adrian, and I appreciate your time, do you know how much you want to get for your house? You have an idea?
I'm figuring my house is probably worth 400.
About 400?
Yeah.
How much did you pay for it 10 years ago?
Oh, I paid 250.
Oh, wow. Is there a mortgage on it or you paid it off?
Oh, I still have a mortgage.
Got it. Got it. So ideally you want to sell that house, right? And then buy something else.
Well, that's what I've been thinking about.
Well, I mean, how did you come up with that $400,000 range? Was it like a Zillow's estimate, or you have an agent that you know that gave you that information?
I was just looking online somewhere and I figured that's probably close.
Okay. Have you done any work in the last 10 years to update the house?
Oh yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff.
Oh, so maybe you actually work more than that, because a lot of these online estimates, right? They don't really truly know what you put in inside of the house.
Mm.
Would you agree with me with that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So here's what I can offer you, Adrian, and this is no commitment on your end. Obviously, it's at no cost to you, free of charge, as a matter of fact. I can offer you a complete price analysis of your home, where you will know exactly how much you can list it, how much you can sell it for, and what you're going to walk away with after all the expenses. And in addition to it, if you would like, I can give you some tips and tricks on things that you may want to do around the house to not only improve the showing condition of the home, but also possibly increase the home value of your property without spending that much money. Is that something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, at some point that sounds like that would be the right thing to do.
Okay, so can I follow up with you then in the next, when do you think? A week, a month, a year?
Uh, let- let's say in a year.
In a year? Cool, awesome. I can definitely do that. Adrian, what's a good phone number for you?
602
Yep,
619
yep.
0672.
Okay, awesome. And is it okay if I can just email you my contact information?
Yeah, sure, you can do that. That's
What's
fine.
the email address for you?
So
Adrian,
Adrian,
what's the email address for you?
it's adrian@gmail.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, Adrian, I appreciate your time and stopping by this open house. What do you think about this open house? Do you feel like this may be a good fit for you?
I like the house. It's nice, but it's just too early for me to really say anything.
Gotcha. No, okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, cool. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, Adrian. I'll follow up with you in a year or so from now. But of course, if anything changes, please keep me in mind, and I'll be happy to assist you in your real estate needs. Sounds good?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, good. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys. So I mean, it went a little bit longer than I really wanted it, but I really kind of, I don't like to give up. Right? And I don't think we should give up. Okay? Like they're there for a reason. Like every time I see a person walking to my open house, I'm looking at that individual as somebody that I can help. Somebody that needs my help. Somebody that needs my guidance, my leadership, my mentorship. This is very important. That's the mindset shift that you got to have. When people walking into your open house, you are the king or the queen of that domain. They're there for a reason. Especially if it's like, come on, an open house, it's 115 degrees outside and you got people walking into the open house. They're there for a reason. They're not just driving it around in 115 degree weather just to show up at your open house. So we got to do is we got to realize that we got to figure that out from the minute they walk in, okay? And then again, using the scripts, using the questions, open-ended questions, using the objection handlers, extend the conversation, develop a rapport, provide value, ask for information back. Provide value, ask for information back. So in Adrian's case, even though he was not ready, what I said to him is like, look, I can offer you a complete price analysis of your home for free of charge, no cost on your end, very similar to what the appraiser would do without you spending $400, $500. Is that something you're interested in? Yeah, absolutely. Great. What's a good email address for you? What's a good phone number for you? See, I presented the value first and then ask for the information. It's the same thing with Veronice. Veronice is looking to buy a house in a neighborhood with a pool and a 4-bedroom. I said, look, I come across a lot of different homes. Is it okay for me to start sending you these properties before they hit the market or as soon as they hit the market? So this way, if you like one of them, you can give me a call. Yeah, absolutely. Great. What's a good email address for you? Always bring value to the table. Always add value. Okay? Another most common objection is going to be what? I have an agent. So what do we do when we have an agent? Angelica said we just, what do we do, Angelica?
We back off.
Back off. We just go into the corner, okay, hide our face, and start looking at our phone. That's what we do. That's what we do. And that's not should be the case at all. Absolutely not. They are there for a reason. If they're not there with an agent, they're fair game. If they're not there with their agent, they're a fair game. How many times you go to the store, you go to a department store, well, now with COVID, probably not. But let's say you go to Macy's, right? And let's say the one that I like personally is the one in Biltmore, 24th Street in Camelback. And I live on 83rd Avenue in Deer Valley. And it takes me anywhere between 25 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, half an hour, right, to go there, right? And before I go there, I'll take a shower, I'll dress up, I go there for a reason. I don't go to the stores because I want to go to the store. I go to the store because I need to buy something. I have to buy something. I'm sure you would all agree with me with that, correct? Well, maybe not ladies, I don't know. Ladies, sometimes they go to the stores for just going for the stores, just going and seeing things. But for the most part, you're going there to actually buy things. So you go into the store, you walk into the store, and the first person that sees you that works in the store, they will ask you what? Can I help you? May I help you? Is there anything that you see that you like? And what is our automatic response when it comes to their question? What are we typically going to say? What are we saying?
We're just looking.
Just looking. Or in this case, I have an agent. I have an agent. And here's the way I approach this particular objection. Carmen, what are you eating, Carmen? You want to share it with me?
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Oops.
That's so good. I like your transparency, Carmen. Yeah, what, I'm just eating. No problem. So here's what happens. So here's what happens, right? I have an agent, and here's my response. Here's the approach that I use. Hey, you know what? No big deal. There are 40,000 agents out there, and I'm making a joke out of it. There are 40,000 agents out there. What's the name of your agent? What is the name of your agent? And you should see their faces. Like half of them are like, Bob, Cher. Yeah. They don't have a freaking agent. They don't. Right? But even let's say they do have an agent, here's what I do next. I said, you know what? No big deal. Say hello to your agent. Let me show you around. Let me show you around. I do not lose a beat. I do not go to the corner. I actually doing my job as a realtor. This is my open house. I'm responsible for this open house. I prepared for this open house. I got my stuff ready for this open house. I'm going to be 5 hours or 6 hours or 7 hours in this open house. I'm doing my job. Let me show you around. And I'm showing them around, and I'm sharing the things that were done in the house. I'm talking about the neighborhood. I'm talking about all the pros, right? All the things. I'm asking them questions, how long they've been looking. And I'm doing exactly the same thing as I would if somebody does not have an agent. I'm building rapport with them. You won't believe how many people at the end of my conversation pretty much admitted they didn't have an agent or they're not committed to an agent. So next time when you have an individual or individuals that say, you know, I have an agent, say, yeah, not a problem. There are 40,000 of us. What's the name of your agent? And just do it. Just show them the house. You're there for a reason. Okay?
I would add that, you know, obviously you could say, well, where is your agent? I'm here right now to work with you.
You could.
So
You could. You can, yeah, you can do that, right? You know, but I don't want to present myself or appear that I'm combative, right? I want to present myself as someone, say, hey, you know, no big deal. There are a lot of us out there. What's the name of your agent, right? So maybe I can send this information to him or to her, but let me show you around.
yeah, the other thing, well, I agree, don't be combative, but you know, you could explain that the way this market is, it's like, it's really hard to move fast enough when you're not aligned with your agent. So
Yep, you could.
I mean, that's the truth.
It is. Absolutely. All right, guys, so let's continue. Thanks so much for your input. Here's another thing. Let's say, for instance, you get people in the door, right? How many of you actually using sign-up sheets right now? Who's using sign-up sheets? How many of you using feedback sheets?
Yes. Feedback sheets.
You got to use feedback sheets, right? Feedback sheets like this right here, right? You guys can see it. The title company that we work with, they usually print them out for us. Okay. This for me was a game changer, and it was also for the agents. Instead of asking people to register or sign up, there's times when even I see it before I walk into the open house, there's an agent that put a sign outside of the door that says, hey, the seller is requiring everybody to sign up. Like, really? Seriously? So don't do that, all right? Have a feedback form. Remember when I said when I meet them and greet them, I ask for their name. I put their name on the top of the feedback form. I'm carrying with me when I'm actually touring the house with them, developing that rapport, asking them open-ended questions, getting them more and more comfortable with me. And once I feel there is an opening there, I ask them to fill out this form. And the way I present it to them, I say, hey guys, the house has been on the market for a few days or a couple of weeks. You know, the sellers are getting a little bit antsy. They really want to hear what the buyers have to say about the house. If you don't mind, can I ask you for a quick feedback? And you hand them this particular feedback form or sheet. And here's what's going to happen. Most of the time, if you present it correctly and your tonality is correct, right? You're asking them for a favor, essentially. Okay? Most of the time, they will agree to it and they will start actually completing this feedback form. So they will put like a curb appeal, first impression of interior, backyard, price. Typically, they will put things like 1 month, 3 months when they want to purchase their home. Okay, you already have their name. And here's what you do next. By having the conversation with them, now you know they're shopping for their next home. They like this neighborhood per se. So, well, you guys, you mentioned to me you've been shopping for a couple of months and you haven't found anything that you like, but you really like this neighborhood. We do quite a bit of business in this neighborhood, my team and I. Okay, and we always have houses that get on the market, or before they even get in the market, that we introduce to our database, to our clients in our database. And some of these houses may be a good fit for you. Would you like us to start sending you that list of properties before they hit the market? Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Yeah, wonderful. What's a good email address for you? And then your phone number, is it 623 or 602? Oh, no, it's 602. Okay, 602, then what? 456-6020. So now you got their phone number. So about 50% of them will put their phone number and email address. Another 50% is, this is what you do. You ask them. The same goes with the seller. If you got a seller, say, hey, one of the things that we offer is a complimentary price analysis of your home. And then on top of it, what we're going to do is every single month, we're going to update you with all of the properties that are currently active on MLS, are under contract in MLS, and also have closed recently for your neighborhood. Is that something that would be of value to you? Yeah, absolutely. Great. What's a good email address for you? So by having that, again, by asking them the right questions, by adding value to the conversation, you're going to be able to get a lot of more signups. All right. Any questions about the open house feedback form? I think everybody, if you're doing the open houses, everybody should be using these instead of registration sheets. For you, that's going to be very, very important. Okay. So let's say you got 2 or 3 of them. You got 2 or 3 of them. So now what? This is a very important step in the process. A lot of us actually don't even have a challenge of getting the names. But for some reason, once we get those names, we feel like, you know what? We have accomplished quite a bit. We feel like, you know what? They're not going to go and talk to another agent. We feel like, you know what? We can wait another day or 2 to follow up with them. And that's a mistake. You got to do the follow-up right there on the spot. As soon as you get their information, okay, you want to add that lead into the database. Some of you use KB Core, some of you use Sync. Okay, use a database, add their information into the database. The next step is you want to create a custom search, whether you're using KB Core, whether you're using Sync or using MLS, it doesn't matter. Create a custom search and send them a property or 2 or 3 that matches their criteria. Again, that's done on the same day. Once you created that search, you want to send them an email and text them with the selected listings. The next step is you record a short selfie video, okay, thanking them for stopping by and letting them know that you sent them a list of homes to look at. Again, very simple, camera in front of you. Hi, Berenice. It was a pleasure meeting you and your 2 kids this afternoon at my house, at my open house. It's 1234 East Maple Street. I am looking forward to learning more about your situation. Definitely looking forward to meeting your husband and start getting the process rolling when it comes to selling your property and finding your next home. By the way, I just sent you a couple of properties that I found that hopefully will meet your criteria. Please take a look at them and let me know if you have any questions. That's it, a 10-second or 15-second video. You text that video to them. Then you follow up about an hour later, confirming they received your list of properties. And then you want to schedule a time for you to meet with them, whether it's in an office, a coffee shop, or their house, or a house that they want to see. This is very important. I would say even critical in you converting these open house leads, okay, at the higher, much higher level. If you wait a day or 2 what happens? They moved on. They forgot. They maybe probably got 1 or 2 other emails from the agents. They don't remember you that well. That's why it's so important to do it that day. And also make sure that you have a video, that you send a video of yourself. So this way they remember your face. Don't think for a minute that you're the only agent that they met with, that they spoke to, that were able to develop a rapport with, or they're getting information from. Please don't make that mistake. Any questions about this slide, guys? No. Okay, let's continue, guys. We have a couple more slides left. Money is the follow-up. Again, in your database, you can categorize, and you should categorize your leads into 3 different categories. Hot leads are ready to buy or sell now or within 30 days. Nurture leads ready to sell or buy in the next 60 to 90 days. And then watch leads are ready to sell or buy in the next 90 days. Each type of lead is given a different amount of attention. Okay, you have to understand that. What we got to do is we want to make sure that each lead we follow up with like a hot lead every 7 days, a nurture lead every 2 weeks, a watch lead, the one that's 90 days plus, once a month. You put them on a database, you schedule reminders, you follow up with them. Now, in addition just on making a phone call, obviously we want to make sure that they're receiving property alerts. They're receiving ideally some sort of a market update video from you on a monthly basis. Okay, you also want to make sure that you send out thank you cards. Every time you talk to somebody, every time you meet somebody and you have their physical address, okay, even if you don't have their physical address, you can always go into Monsoon and probably get their physical address. You want to send them a thank you card. Imagine this, if you send out 5 thank you cards a day, that's 20 cards, that's actually 25 cards a week. That's 100 cards a month or 1,200 cards a year. That's a lot of freaking cards. Imagine how much business you're going to be able to get out of it. A lot of business. Also keep in mind that, especially with the ones like Adrian was my role play partner, right? The guy who doesn't remember or does not know when he's going to move. That may require me anywhere between 15 to 18 follow-ups just to get in front of him again. That's a possibility. It may take a year, it may take 2 years. The same goes with Veronice. It may take a year or 2 years. That means I have to be constantly following up with them. Constantly. They'll be constantly getting information from me. But we're all here for a long term, right? As business owners. We want to do this for the next 5, 10 years, God willing. So why not have them in your database and follow up with them and have a system help you to follow up with them instead of just maybe follow up with them once or twice and say, you know what, they're not really serious, they're not really ready. They may be ready a year from now or 2 years from now. I'm not really going to waste that much time. Okay? So follow-up is going to be very, very important. The way I look at follow-up is every lead for me, right? Not only we're talking about a monetary value of $5, $7, $10, $15,000, but also you're talking about a client that if you do a good job, and all of you most likely will do a good job, that client will be yours for many, many, many years to come. And that client's going to refer a lot of business to you, like going back, Doug and Sarah. So that's the way I look at it is, look, most of these leads are going to be 3 to 12 months away, but that's fine. You got a database, you got a CRM, right? They're there. You're sending them educational content, valuable content. You follow up with them. So what? It takes 12 months. Be it. No big deal. But 12 months from now, guess what? You're listing their house, they're buying a home with me, they're referring more business to you. That can potentially be $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in commissions. Okay? Okay, three key steps in building a thriving open house business and have the best year ever. Again, number one, I think when it comes to anything in life or any project or in business, you gotta have a discipline to start. Start with one open house. It doesn't have to be 4 open houses a week. Start with one open house. Get your feet wet. Do it the right way, the way I've been presenting it to you in the last hour and a half or so. Okay. Step number 2. Okay, you got to be patient because not every single open house is going to yield the results. Not every single open house is going to be able to have a lot of people in the door or have leads. That's okay. I held many open houses where on Thursday I would have 10 people, and then on Friday I would have 0. And on Saturday I would have 2. My goal when it comes to the open houses is every single week I want to get one solid lead, whether it's a buyer lead or a seller lead, one solid lead a week. That's it. That's my goal. Anything else on top of it is gravy. Anything else, any more leads, that's awesome, that's great. I'm praying. But my goal is I want to get one solid lead a week. That's 4 leads a month. Out of those 4, I know I'm going to be able to close 2, maybe possibly 3. So that's how you got to look at it. Not every open house is going to generate business for you. That's okay. If it would be that easy, everybody would do it. Number 3, very important, is to make sure that you're surrounded by, again, positive environment, positive people. Adrian, you got a mentor, a team lead, Virginia. Okay, she's amazing. Martha, Berenice, you got, and then Carmen, of course, we got Angelica, we have Carmen as your mentors. You got to surround yourself with mentors. You got to surround yourself with doers. You got to surround yourself with people that will support you, that will mentor you, but also, and this is very important because we're all independent contractors and we all like flexibility and we all get sidetracked, but also we want to make sure those mentors hold you accountable. And you want your mentors, you want your leaders to hold you accountable. Why? That means they care. That means they give a shit. Most of the brokerages or brokers, they don't hold you accountable. They don't give a shit. So we want to make sure that we surround ourselves with those type of individuals that will support you, that will guide you, that will be patting you on the back, but at the same time, hold you accountable. And then lastly, you got to give it 90 days. 90 days. You got to give it 90 days. You started open house business, do it for the next 90 days. Do not expect instant results. You will get some good results, but do not expect to get really good at scripts, at objection handlers, in converting these leads, in asking for the information on the first try or from the first open house. It will take days and weeks and possibly even months. So you got to give it time. Nothing happens overnight. It took me months, even years to get where I'm at. Same thing with Carmen, same thing with Angelica. Okay? Be a student, use your resources, use your mentors, be coachable, ask questions, and again, more importantly, take action. Take actions. Take action. You got to take action. You're not taking action, no matter what I'm telling you this right now, no matter what I'm sharing this right now, this hour and a half session, it's going to go by the wayside. You got to take action. That's what's going to separate you That's what's going to help your business go to the next level, grow, scale, is taking action. Even if it's a little small steps. There's a saying, and my coach loves to say this all the time. Small hinges in a door, small hinges swing big doors. Think about it. If you look at your door right now, you have these little small hinges, right? But they swing big doors. So don't go 120 miles from day one. Take small steps every single day, but get better every single day. And there are going to be days when you're going to be sidetracked. There are going to be days when you're going to start questioning things. There are going to be days when you're going to be feeling defeated, discouraged, and that's okay. That's part of the growing process. That's part of the growing process. Okay? And then you got to track and measure your numbers and progress. Tracking sheets are very important. You got to know where your business is right now and where it's heading, right? So tracking the number of conversations, the number of phone calls, the number of open houses, the number of meetings, all of that, you got to track all of that. Okay? Any questions before we go?
I just have a quick question. Can we get an email with the slides?
Absolutely. Not only email, but we're going to upload this into our Facebook group page, Best Agents Home. And we're going to tag Carmen and Angelica. It's going to be there. It's going to be there, and we're also going to send you the slides.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Anything else?
So, Alan, I have a question.
Yes, Martha.
I'm thinking about doing an open house for a FISBO. What do you recommend, or what are the steps that I need to take to do that? Any documents I need to fill out, or?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of holding open houses for FISBOs unless I actually have an agency with them.
Mm-hmm.
It just puts you in a liability situation. If something happens inside of that house, that's a problem.
Okay.
You see, so that's the way I look at it. If you do have a FISBO opportunity, try to actually get a listing.
Okay.
Right? Do you know this for sale by owner or no?
No, I haven't met with him.
Have you spoke to the for sale by owner?
Yeah.
And what is their situation?
Well, he's not looking to list it. He wants to make the most, obviously, and so he's not willing to pay right now. He thinks he can sell it on his own.
And how long he's been on the market?
How long he's been selling it?
How long he's been on the market? Yeah.
I think it's 3 weeks now.
3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And is it priced correctly? Have you run the comps?
It's a little over, I would say by 10 or 15.
Okay. All right. And what is his motivation?
He's not highly motivated. He even mentioned it himself because he was also considering leasing it. But yesterday I spoke to him and he said that it seems like he would prefer to sell it if he can get the right price for it.
Yeah. And what I would do is have a conversation with him, ideally face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Over the phone is fine, but unfortunately, the way they FISBOs talk to you over the phone and in person are can be a little bit different. When you meet them in person, they're definitely going to be a little bit more less guarded, and they'll be a little bit more open and having conversation with you, and then possibly doing business with you. So when I go for sell by owner, right? For me, the key 3 things that I wanted to find out right away is A, why are they selling? What is their motivation? B, what is their time frame, right? How quickly they want to sell it. And then C, if they are committed to an agent. If they're committed to an agent. Okay, so if let's say their motivation is questionable, I still will go and see the house. If their time frame is questionable, I still go and see the house. If they're actually committed to an agent and their agent is related to them or giving them a huge discount on the commission, that'll be a tough one. Okay? So what I do is I say, you know what, Mr. For Sale by Owner, you know, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Is it okay for me to stop by and to like, take a look at your home? Take a look at your home. Okay. Another way you can present it to him, which by the way, I think you should be all doing right now, is say, look, Mr. Seller, as you probably know, it's a hot market right now. There's just not enough inventory out there. I'm actually personally working with the buyers that are really getting discouraged. We cannot find them a really nice home. And I always come across buyers that are looking to buy. And what I'm doing is I'm doing my research, I'm doing my due diligence. I want to see if there's something out there outside of MLS that can be a good fit for one of my buyers.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm reaching out to you to see if it's okay for me to stop by, take a look at it, see if it's going to be a good fit for one of my buyers. And also, if you don't mind, I would like to leave my information with you. So when things change, if you decide to actually put it in the market with a real estate agent, I would love to have an opportunity to have a seat at the table. I would love to have an opportunity to have a seat at the table. Okay, and when you go there and you meet with a for sale by owner, your job is to continue to develop that rapport, build that relationship, find out more about why he's selling. And then let's say, for example, a perfect objection if he wants to rent, it's like, well, Mr. Seller, as you know, with this COVID situation, you know, the government implemented the forbearance until the end of the year. So God forbid you find a tenant and that tenant is not going to be paying your monthly rent. You know, are you prepared to have a tenant not to pay a rent for the next 3 or 4 months? Do you really want to have that extra layer of headache? The way the market is right now, it's a hot market. You can probably get a top dollar for your house. It just needs to be marketed a little more aggressively, okay? And I believe that if we put it in a market, with the marketing that we do, we can get you the best possible terms.
Right. What if, I mean, he seems a little unrealistic because he knows it's a hot market. He knows houses are selling for more than what they price it at. But like I said, looking at the comps, he's about 15 over. So he wants to profit that full amount. Obviously, that's without a commission. So how do I approach that? I already told him I don't have a buyer with those, you know, specifications for that house.
Well, you don't know if you're a buyer or not.
Oh, yeah, I told him at the moment I don't, but I could.
Because you all have access to the database of a lot of leads. We have over 30,000 leads. And there's got to be a buyer in that database for that particular house. As far as if he's $10,000 above the asking price or above the comps, guess what? Every listing right now that you see on the market is probably going to be about $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 above the comps. That's the reality. And guess what? A lot of buyers writing offers $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 above the comps. And some of them will actually waive the appraisal contingency, and some of them actually will pay the difference. Okay?
Right.
So what you can do is say, look, we have a program that we offer to the for sale by owners where, let's say you give me a chance to list your house. While I have it on the market, you can still continue to market on your own. So if you find a buyer through your marketing channels, you don't pay me my commission. Okay? But if I bring a buyer or one of the agents brings a buyer, my listing commission is 1% or 1.5% or 2%, whatever it is, my listing commission. And whatever you decide to pay to that buyer's agent, it's completely up to you. So I'm doing all the work for you, Mr. Seller. I'm taking all the liability, I'm taking all the responsibility. I'm making sure that not only your house is promoted and marketed aggressively, I'm also making sure that the buyer that's writing an offer on your house is pre-qualified buyer and will be able to close on time. I'm doing all of that homework for you for 1% or 1.5% or 2% commission.
Okay.
So if it's a $300,000 house, 1% commission is $3,000. Okay, now you can say, you know what, it's 1% the first week. If I don't sell it in 1 week, it becomes 1.5% after 2 weeks. And then after third week, it's going to be 2% listing. So you can play it that way as well. You can put in additional terms and conditions. The listing agent agrees to charge 1% commission the first week. The second week, it becomes 1.5%. The third week, it becomes 2%. The fourth week, it becomes 2.5%. We cap it at 2.5%. And then whatever he decides to pay to the buyer's agent is completely up to him. But typically, it's going to be what? 2%, 2.5%, 2%, right?
Okay.
So with for sale by owners, their number one goal is to do what? Is to avoid paying commissions and keep as much as possible in their pocket. So if we work around their situation by saying, hey, for sale by owner, I think I can get you more than what you're asking for. And if I do, will you be okay paying my commission? And if I don't, my listing fee is only 1%. That's another way you can structure it. Okay, now, if that for sale by owner is a business person, he will actually see the value in what you're offering. Why? Because he doesn't have to worry about dealing with the buyers, dealing with the seller, not dealing with the listing with other agents, hoping that the buyer is going to be pre-qualified, because most of them don't know what the hell they're doing. And you know, when you write a contract, most of the terms are favorable to who? To the buyer, not to the seller. Once the buyer's under contract, he's got pretty much all the rights. Okay?
Thank you.
But try it that way, okay? And again, you gotta bring value to the table. And if that means you gotta cut the commission, you gotta discuss that. Obviously, you want to have that conversation with your team leader. Make sure that your team leader is okay with it, right? But that's something that I allow my agents to do, just because the fact that the listings right now are so scarce, they're not there. So if we can get a listing for $300,000 and do 1% commission, it's $3,000 then zero. I already make $3,000 or even make $1,500. Then they make zero.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And then if that for sale by owner also looking to buy, guess what? Maybe you can help them on the buy side.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're going to be able to get 2.5% commission.
Right. Yeah, he already has another home, but he said it himself. I'm not the highest motivated seller, but I think he was really looking forward to leasing it, and it seems like he changed his mind within a week, or he just used that as a excuse, to get me off his back.
Again, you probably wanna know really his motivation and whether he wants to do this or not for real, right? But I think he wants to sell because he sees where the market is, and he knows where renting a house right now with everything that's going on, it's a huge risk.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, but it's a good point.
You got to bring that up. You got to bring that up.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. All right, guys. Any other questions before we go? No? Well, ladies, thank you so much. Carmen, thank you so much. Martha, thank you so much. Araceli, thank you so much. And let's have a good day, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.